What's up, guys? Man on the Moon here with another video, and today we are back with another Walking Dead Road to Survival podcast. And once again, I'm going to be joined by my buddies Lockdown and Just Call Me Tex. Thank you guys again for showing up.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks for having us, man.
Of
Let's
course,
get it.
always fun to get together with you fellas. Now, today we are going to be talking about the weapons that are currently available just throughout the gray market and around the game because I realized the other day like I knew there was weapons all over the place, right? But I didn't realize how many good weapons are actually available right now. Like either just free to play or with a bit of grinding. And so we're going to talk about that stuff. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on the fact that we are actually getting good weapons? Like for the longest time, it just seemed like we weren't getting, it would just be basic weapons that we still had to craft a lot on. Have you guys noticed just generally weapons getting better, or does this seem like an anomaly to you guys?
Um, I see that weapons are getting better, and it almost feels like we're. I know we've been in the end game for a long time, but it feels like we're in the end game. You know how you play like a game, like Warframe or something like that, and you go to the high end content. That's what it feels like with these weapons because of the perks that are on there, the improved perks and stuff. You know, and some of these weapons are just downright nasty. They're really good. So I think that we're in a good state as far as weapons go and the amount of variety that's within the game too as well.
I think weapons definitely have improved. I think there's still some things they can do to make it a little bit better for certain types of characters, and coming up with weapons that have a bit better usage on more types, more characters in general. Sometimes they'll bring out a weapon that is very one dimensional. It can only really be used on like one toon, or there's a toon that like there's no weapon that works on it really. Like I mean, I won't get into too much detail at this point in the video, but like Sophia, for instance, there's not really many weapons that can work in her hands that, like to a top standard. So I think if they released a weapon that could work in her hands, that'd be great. But I think we've definitely seen improvements on League Store, our Season Store even, and basically everywhere. The shop, the new Mythic Market and stuff like that has weapons in it now. So and all of them are pretty good. It's like stepping stone weapons at least.
Yeah, I mean they've got an alert attacks weapon in League Store right now, in like you said, the Season Store with AP down, and it's a fairly good starting block weapon, and especially because alert attacks isn't craftable. And then I'm more so thinking of weapons like when I ask have weapons gotten better, I'm thinking about the weapon that's right next to it in that store though, that Sawyer's Savage Meat Hook Chain. Improved leech life gives 12% attack to all teammates in a line. Like they made that as, to be the promo weapon of the season, right? Like I believe that's where that originally was. It was in the expensive slot, correct, Lockdown?
Yeah, correct. And I bought it because Sawyer's my boy, but as a weapon, yeah, it's terrible.
Right, right. So like I mean, weapons are just getting better, obviously, but it's seemingly like we've got a lot of them at the moment. And I was just shocked to realize how many good ones there are. I even forgot a few because like you were the one that said League the Season Store, and I forgot about the Laura Sapping Revolver with alert attacks. That's actually a really good weapon if you don't already have it, an alert attacks weapon.
Yeah, and in one of the previous seasons, they had improved Ransack in there. As I think that was the first time we ever saw improved Ransack, and I think it was Ajax's sword.
Yep.
And that's like that's it is a really good weapon, but that's kind of what I was talking about before. Where I said like that's kind of one dimensional. It's extremely good on someone like Mike, but other than that, it's maybe got quite limited usage. As much as it is a really good weapon.
Right. It's only going to be used on a handful of support. I mean, I could actually maybe add William to that list. If you ran William on your team,
Yeah,
that would
true
probably
enough.
be really good on him. Now, how about we move over to the gray market? Because that's where the bulk of these weapons are. I mean, there's so many slots in the gray market, but um, we'll start off. We'll just go left to right. Start off with the bit shop. We have Sebastian's shameful sidearm, and this has been in here for what, like 6 months now or more. I mean, what do you guys think? How long has that one been in there?
Yeah,
I
about
mean,
6 months. Yeah.
yeah, it feels like an eternity. Lord mercy. It's about 6 months though.
Right. And I'll say this, when they originally released it and I saw that 250, I thought to myself, well, I'm never getting that. 6 months later though, I'm sitting there with, enough characters. Like I haven't sold any of my dupe mythics in quite a while. There's no point because there's not a whole, every once in a while I'll go through and I'll buy the gold mythic tokens that only cost one per, per 5,000. I'll buy those when it resets, but other than that, I don't need more than that per season. And I mean, I could probably go and buy it right now. At this point in the game where people have that many stocked up, do you guys think maybe it's actually worth buying it at this point? I mean, it's got that same buff that, what is it, Duck and Ghost have in the 4 slot, where it's just a flat 20% attack to adjacent. And AP down, I've always liked the on crit weapons. AP down on crit, that's not something that can be resisted, and it's minus 100 AP. I mean, that's a full reset for any mythic character. Is that worth going for, you guys?
Yeah. Um, I actually just bought the Sebastian weapon and I am upgrading it now. Um, I think it's really good. If you look at what it does with Ghost, it that 20% almost seems better than 1535. 1535, the 35 does add some crit there, but I
You're
mean, you
put
could put
if
enough
you're putting
people
that
over.
next to Sophia though, she doesn't need crit.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was about to say. If depending on how you build around the weapon, it's going to be good. But what's going to be even better is the fact that when you crit with this weapon, it causes the enemy to lose 100 AP, which means that AP rushes are only like 55, 65. So if you hit a crit, they lose their whole rush. It's beautiful, and I think that that is going to be key to helping stop some rushes and stuff like that.
I
What do you
think
think, Lockdown? Is it worth picking it up, or do you just save up and buy the plat mods from each set? Well, I mean, they're set guaranteed, but I mean, there's still only one per reset. So do you just save up, or do you buy it when you get enough?
I mean, I'm not buying those mods. That's for sure. I'm not going to spend the guild bits on RNG. It is nice that you know what the weapon is, so there's not any RNG there. That's great. Yeah, but I agree. Like when it first came out, I was just like, okay, that just seems like ridiculous. But obviously now we're just getting non-stop dupes. I think they had in mind kind of what was going to be happening, and when they first brought it out, I have seen some people restructure the weapon though, where they change the third slot to do 45% attack when an enemy's HPs are 50% or more, and then just using the 20% slot in the last one just to give as much attack as possible. I think I saw some people using that on like Kenny very, very early. The 100% AP down is kind of nice, I guess. But I think most defense teams powers like signature moves, so the AP isn't going to be as big an issue. I guess it could potentially work on like Faction Assault. I did have a quick look, and I think the only alert control character is like Dale in Atlanta, so I'm not really sure if that's going to work though. But I will say with the weapon, it is honestly one of the best visual weapons. I don't know what it looks like when you hold it in the hand of the character, but it really does look nice just looking at it in the store. And I think this was probably the kind of like one of the first weapons that we saw come out in these stores before like the sort of flood of good weapons. So it was like almost the start of the like good weapon era, should we say?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because I mean, there again, it's been in there for about 6 months now. Maybe more. So yeah, it probably was the beginning of it. I hadn't actually considered that, but Again, all I ever really considered was just remembering when it initially released. It was just like 250. Good lord, like, good luck free to play is good luck me, you know. But now, I mean, still me free to play. It's I could buy it right now if I wanted to. I just don't particularly have a character that it would be great on in any of my attack teams at the moment, and that's really the only drawback to it for me at the moment. All right, so moving on to the Faction Assault Depot, or Faction Assault section of the Gray Market, I should say. We've got Arav's Butcher's Cleaver over here, and to follow up on what you just said about just the visuals lockdown, this is probably my favorite visuals of any weapon in the entire game. Like I just love the look of it. It just looks so awesome. Um and it's improved slots. I honestly, personally, I'll go ahead and say that this is probably, in my opinion, the best weapon we have access to out of all these shops at the moment. I love, the improved bonus attack. They only need to have 35% HP. For it to proc. That's awesome. And then the improved attack damage, ignoring defense bonus. There's so many like huge defense bonuses floating around at the moment, where whether it be like Sebastian or Laupo or Wangfa, whoever it may be, right? Um,
Yeah, Jesus as well. Jesus
right.
has that defensive bonus too.
Yeah, yeah. What do you guys think of this one?
I mean, I think it's good. This is really good. Really good weapon. And what makes it good is it has the improved attack on there, and it's gonna deal bonus damage and ignore the defense. So that's the most important part about it. So if somebody that 400% defense, that's a buff, right? If you
Yeah.
attack somebody with this weapon, they're gonna ignore that 400% defense. So
Honestly, this might be a good weapon for Sophia herself. I know we've brought her up a couple of times. I know Lockdown brought her up in the last little segment there, saying that she doesn't really have a good weapon, but just that four slot alone, I mean, yeah, there's that third slot's not going to do a whole lot, but hopefully, you want to be rushing with her hitting that signature move, but ignoring a 400% defense bonus with her, that's that might actually be a really good weapon for her specifically.
yeah, that's the way to go, man.
What do you think, Lockdown?
That weapon will only work with basic attacks on Sophia, though. That's the only problem because the third and fourth slots are about hitting attacks. So it's like
That
attack, steal, and when attacking. So it's only going to be basic attacks. Her sig moves and her rush are deal damage. So
I thought maybe that four slot would still
yeah,
the ignore defense
yeah,
bonus part. I thought maybe that would work with her rush, but if that's the case, then okay. Yeah, no, you're probably right there.
yeah. I think this is going to be going back to what I said originally, where they're bringing out nice weapons, but they're kind of like limited to maybe a really small handful of characters that can really utilize these to a good standard. And it would be a fast damage dealer who has either multi hits or like does like attacks on their rush sig move and stuff. So like we'd have like Rosita and then Lydia, but they're quite old, right? The newer character would be Agent 46, who could use this, but his base weapon's quite nice. So you've got to deliberate between those two. But I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say Wanderer would be another one, but again, like you just said, his base weapon is actually, with the improved crit expert and everything, it's I don't would you really want to swap it? So
Yeah, and the Wanderer depends on crit, so I wouldn't
yeah,
probably want to swap that out
exactly,
of his hands.
exactly, yeah.
I will say that I agree completely with you when it comes to the visuals. Though it looks great. Like again, like we'll have to see what it looks like when it's in someone's hands. I'm guessing it's going to be quite small because it's just a cleaver, but yeah, it looks like it's got like teeth on it and stuff. It looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, it looks so sweet, man. I can't wait to get my hands on it. All right, so moving on, we have the candy canes area of the gray market, and we got two weapons in here. And those are both going with the event that's ongoing with the Winter Kingdom. and one of them's the shoot their eye out BB gun, and the other is Lori's holiday handgun. And I'm gonna go ahead and ask you, Lockdown, which one do you like more out of these two?
I think they're both good, but I'm definitely taking the tough weapon, and it's primarily because I do have a lot of good alert weapons, and I don't think the third slot really offers me that much more than what I could craft in the armory versus what the fourth slot offers me on the BB gun. Just because it's a 35% attack boost, is very nice indeed, and I'm probably just gonna craft the craftable version of the third slot of the alert weapon onto the tough weapon. So 45% attack when enemies have 50% or more HP. 50% attack, that could work on someone like Harrison. It could potentially work in some of the stages for Faction Assault, which I'm going to be playing with and see if that's going to work. But yeah, I kind of like this gun quite a lot, actually.
And you just gave away my entire plan for this weapon and Harrison, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Tex, how about you? Which one you think is better?
um, I got both of them right now. I've been testing them out, so I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Lori's holiday handgun. I'm liking it so far. Um,
Is that
just
for the
how it.
Kenny?
No, I'm using it. It's, I'm using it on Madison right now. It's kind of weird. I have her damage in my team. Her damage is like 137 or something like that, 137k. So in the team that I have her in, that's who I'm using it on at the moment. So it's working out pretty good. She's giving that 1535. Um, hitting like a little truck there. Got her doing more um damage. I got Paragon mods on her for I think and t- strong and fast, I believe it is. So I'm testing it out there. I haven't really put this in Kenny's hand, though I think it will be powerful in Kenny's hand. That's something else I can look at too as well. So I'll test it out. But I'm leaning more towards that Christmas weapon at the moment. Looks
Okay.
like a reskin of Lori's old weapon. So but anyway.
I would have to look at Lori's. I might have to check that out before I while I'm editing this, just to see if I can find the visuals for Lori's old one and see. Um, for me, it's like 1A, 1B, right? I just I've kind of moved away from Kenny quite a lot and moved towards Sophia. So as I said, I'm moving towards Harrison. So it's kind of just more matter of the characters I'm using. I would honestly say these weapons are probably about equal in my eyes. If it wasn't for just where my personal teams are at right now with dealing with the current meta, kind of makes me sad. I know I'm not going to be able to get both of them, and I wish I could without spending, but just the fact that I'm getting one is, I mean, Merry Christmas, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty good. They've been giving out a lot of stuff lately too, so
Right? Um, I mean, good segue is, the next one over. We got the Ice Key section where we got the Winter Marcus Universal Spanner. Um, it looks like a cane to me, but whatever. I I'm definitely I'm excited to use this one personally. Um, when we first got the armory upgrade, Ransack was one of the first things I went for, and I was using it on Georgia and Dayu and stuff, and I loved it. So I'm definitely happy to get one off trait. What are you thinking about this weapon, Tex? And who do you think it could be used on currently?
well, funny thing is I mean, I think it could be used on Marcus, you know. So I will put it into Marcus' hands. I actually think I do have it in Marcus' hands as I sit here and look at my team. Yeah, it's in Marcus' hands right now. Um,
Now,
and I think
I,
it
I, I
works out
gotta,
pretty well. Go
I
ahead.
gotta, I gotta ask you though. I mean, is that with him as leader,
Hmm.
and you're sacrificing 1535, or if you have the 2535 weapon for Shane, you're sacrificing that extra attack bonus to the entire team for Ransack?
Yeah, because there's ways to pair him in a team to that you can be able to still get your boost. You know, we have so like say if I put him with Marcus with Ghost and let's just say Kenny for example, hypothetically, right? I really don't need the 1525 because Ghost has the extra 20%, and then I can throw the 20% attack boost weapon to all adjacent characters in Kenny's hands, and it's gonna boost Marcus, Kenny, and Ghost in that sense. So I know it doesn't give out the crit, but I get the crit from Marcus Kit. So in Marcus Kit, he gives, I believe, crit for three turns, 2 turns, I
And
believe it is, in his
it
passive.
went like 200 crit or something
Yeah,
insane.
200 crit for 1 turn, right?
Yeah, like that.
So
I will admit that is bonkers, right?
that's what I'm saying. So right, if he going off first turn, you know, remember with using him, you want a turn one attack team. So I'm killing people turn one. So it works out that way, you know.
That's
So
a fair take.
you don't necessarily need 1535 for the whole team because of how other weapons are structured right now. So
How about you, Lockdown? What do you think of the weapon, and who do you think it could be used well on?
For me, I don't really think the character exists that can utilize it like well. I think it's more like a support character for an attack team. So I guess that would probably be like Molly. That is about it. Other than her, I can't
Thank
think
you.
of anyone else. Like, but I would prefer to use it honestly on someone like Glenn. But obviously, Glenn's just way out of the loop.
I mean, that's fair, but like my thought process. I mean, granted, I use Molly on pretty much every team and have since she came out, right? So like, I saw that and it was just, oh, she doesn't have to hold the diamond knife anymore. Like that feels like sacrilege to say it out loud. Me being me, but like this is an upgrade. Right. So moving on, we have the advanced rush section, and we got two weapons in here, right? We got Sophia's Louisville Slugger and William's large butcher's cleaver, and these are both re-releases, correct? William's cleaver has come out, right, guys?
Yeah, both are re-releases, correct.
Okay, okay. Um, Now personally, I only have Sophia's Louisville. Um, do you guys have Williams cleaver?
Nope, but I did get the Sophia Slugger from that crate that they gave us when they changed the what was it, the Mythic Market stuff.
Right. Yeah. How about you, Tex? Do you have
yeah,
Williams?
the yeah, I have two of them. I two cleavers and two of the sluggers. I just bought it because I have the tunes already, and there was nothing else left for me to spend stuff for it. So I just got the cleaver and everything like that. Yeah, so I have both of them.
I mean, okay, so I have to ask this one because like this is my big question, like the debate that's been raging in my head cuz I've been sitting on 5 of those golden kendamas since I did what, the Harrison pulls, was it? So like, I mean, granted I did those pulls like 2 weeks ago and I just don't know personally, do I hold on to them and like see if maybe I do some more pulls for someone else before this ends? Do I pick up one of the weapons or do I go for these mods? Because like Paragon attack set mod, Paragon crit set mod. Now, I mean, that's still partial RNG, but I mean, there's quite a few good attacking mods. You know, if you hit one of those attack versus, if you hit an attack on attack, if you hit or attack on crit, you know, if you hit any of the good resists, you know, confuse resist, stun resist, taunt resist, exhaust resist, is that RNG? I mean, what do you? I mean, obviously, Tex, you said you took the weapons because you have the characters. Lockdown. What do you? What about you? Do you take the mods over the weapons or the weapons over the mods?
I've got 10 kendamas left myself, and I have to make that choice. I'm not really sure at the moment. Honestly, I'm not really sure. The mods aren't that expensive. I could maybe get the weapon and some other mods in your place where you've only got 5.
Right.
That's gonna be a tough
Right.
that's gonna be a tough one to decide upon. Um, I definitely wouldn't go for a second Sophia Slugger though. I don't think that's worth getting for like having a 1535 and stuff because you can't get the attack very high that way. Um, it's just whether you think there's a character now or in the future. It's risking the future when it comes to Williams Large Butcher Cleaver. Like, imagine Marcus just came out. You know, the strong one. That would be great in Marcus's hands. Got
It
Stonewall,
would.
Cleanse. He's got stun on his passive, so that'd be great. But he's not really like meta. I've seen him in a couple of teams, but other than him, I can't really see who I'm going to be used that on. So it's
Right.
risking it for a future potential release, which could honestly really be amazing. But that character may not even come out, so you never know.
Right. And I guess I kind of feel like it's a RNG either way because that's why I haven't just snap picked it up. Is even though I don't have it, I haven't snap picked it up because it's like exactly what you just said. You know, what am I really gonna do? Who am I really gonna throw that on? You know, I'm not gonna throw that on someone like uh William, the old William. Um, you know, I still use him in one of my defenses, but he's holding the, you know, improved absolute defense War of Champions weapon from the last War of Champions. This isn't better than that, and so why would I, you know, I'm not going to downgrade my weapon. Oh, it is a rough choice, kind of like you said. Which one would you just be going for the cleaver yourself if you do go that way?
If I had to choose a weapon, it would be the cleaver for sure. Like I said, I don't think going for a second slugger is worthwhile. I know it's 60% chance to stun, but I, I don't think that's really worth it. Like I've got one strong attacks. I have to change it to 1535, and then I lose out on a 5%, and it already isn't that amazing on the amount of upgrades we get. We only get 3, you know, so because we have to put
Right.
AP on it. But then again, you could potentially just not put AP on it depending on the character it goes on. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I sacrificed I mean, I was using it heavily on Shane, and Shane needs the AP, but I was just like, oh well, 60% chance to stun. You know, I went 40% attack, left the medium, and then threw 35 on the 4 slot. But like you said, is it worth having a second one? Because you know, I've got there again. I've same as you. I've got my strong attacks weapons. I don't need another one, so I would have to change that 4 slot. That being said, I think if you didn't have the first one, Sophia's probably the slugger's probably the better choice of the two. Would you guys agree with that? If you don't have either of those weapons and you have to pick one, would you pick Sophia's?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Glad we're all on the same page there at least.
Yeah, always go attack first because that's what you see the most, you know? So I would go attack first because I play with attack teams. I don't see defensive teams, right? So you want your attack team to be as fast as possible. So I will always go offensive first.
All right, so I want to thank you all for watching, and I want to give a big thank you to my buds Lockdown and Tex for showing up again. I always have a great time doing these, and it was just one of those things. Like I said, I realized that there was actually a lot of good weapons in there, and I felt like it was worth talking about. So thank you guys for showing up.
You're welcome, man. It was fun.
Anytime, bro.